Hey everybody, Maurice back again with another lecture on the Glorify the Good channel. Today's topic is about handling life's demands. Life's always pulling us in certain various directions, whether it's work, family, school, relationships, you name it, you're being pulled some way, somehow in this grand game of life. So today I'm going to offer you a framework so that you can better manage your health while also being productive at the same time. So this framework is referred to as the 3P framework. The first P, physiological first. Second P, purpose alignment. Third P, productivity and time. So when it comes to the physiological, this is about prioritizing basic physical and mental health. Purpose alignment is ensuring that activities align with your personal values and goals. And productivity and time obviously means managing all of the tasks that you have in an efficient manner. So this framework is rooted in psychology. The first point is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and this emphasizes the progression from basic physiological needs to a higher state of self-actualization. The second theory involved is the self-determination theory, and that just basically highlights self-autonomy, right? The power to make one's own decisions and have some sort of control of one's life. Competence and relatedness as key motivators. And the final bullet point is something referred to as the Eisenhower matrix. And this is basically a method for prioritizing tasks based on urgency and importance. So now we're gonna begin to discuss that first P a little further. Physiological first. So like I said, this is all about prioritizing one's physical and mental well-being. Neglecting basic needs like sleep, nutrition, and exercise can often lead to stress, fatigue, and decreased productivity. The supporting research states that impaired cognitive function and emotional regulation are consequences of sleep deprivation. So I'm sure you guys have experienced this. We all have. One night you may not get the best sleep and you still have things to do the next day, right? You may be cranky, irritable, and not your best self, and therefore your productivity is impacted negatively. The research also says that chronic stress results from unmet physical needs, and this can oftentimes lead to burnout. So what can we do to ensure that we are in our best physiological health? So prioritizing one's health, nutrition, sleep, and exercise are the foundations of this tier. You want to aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Some people might need less sleep than that. You know yourself better than I do. So if you're someone who's able to thrive off of 5 or 6 hours of sleep, then, as long as you're feeling nice and chipper the next morning, you're good to go. Balanced nutrition. You can plan meals to, maintain your energy levels. I know everybody's got, like I said, so many things pulling them in different directions. The idea of meal planning and meal prepping may not be accessible to everyone, but that's just something to try to get better at, something to try to have your mind on as you progress through life. Hey, I'm having to constantly buy out food, or I'm constantly having to, make TV dinners or eat processed food. At a certain point, you're gonna need full, whole meals that are gonna provide you with the proper balanced nutrition and vitamins and minerals to keep you in that top tier healthy and productive state. This is my favorite one, regular physical activity. So you want to engage in at least 30 minutes of physical activity per day. I like to recommend walking because it's the most accessible to a lot of people. God forbid you don't have the capacity to walk. There are alternative methods for you, but for the general person, the general public, walking is going to be your best bet. You know, all you need is 30 minutes. You can pop on some music, some headphones, your favorite podcast. You know, you can make time for 30 minutes. Another nice innovative tool or a piece of equipment that I'm seeing a lot of people use nowadays are walking treadmills. So lots of people have walking treadmills attached to their desks, or they just slide them underneath their desks. So during the workday, you know, these people can be typing on their computers and on their walking treadmill, killing two birds with one stone. That's perfect. Just want to share some other tools that you can utilize in this area. So there's digital tools, you know, websites and apps that you can use in this area. This is one of my favorites. I just got introduced to this maybe like September, October of 2024, Zen Sleep. So this is an app that offers personalized sleep coaching and education based on principles of cognitive behavioral therapy. So that's another concept in psychology whereby you're almost retraining yourself to think about sleep. So with this app, you take a survey, they ask you questions about, drinking habits, device habits, and they can come up with a personalized plan that will, send you reminders. Hey, 8 p.m., please cut off all alcoholic beverages. 10 p.m., please cut off all device usage, things like that. So it sort of trains you to get better at sleeping. There's another app called Sleep Cycle. This monitors your sleep patterns, basically for the same exact goal, to improve sleep quality. In terms of nutrition, you can use an app called MyFitnessPal to track all of the different foods that you're eating. Now, with MyFitnessPal, I'll say it's really best used if you're using I don't want to say processed foods, but foods that are typically found in retail stores, right? So if you've got like a Dole pack of salad, you can right there input that and it'll give you a pretty accurate assessment of how many calories, protein, fats, carbohydrates that you're consuming versus something, a meal that you cook on your own. You're gonna have to try to do your own measurements on that front, but MyFitnessPal is generally good for most people, especially if you buy a lot of your food from outside. And then in terms of fitness, besides walking, which I mentioned is easily accessible, just go on YouTube. There's various videos. You can basically simulate being in a class. I think a big one that I used to use back in the day was Insanity. Those high intensity cardio workouts. So that was a fun one, but the internet is your playground. So check out all the resources there. If you're trying to get into weightlifting and things like that, strength training, another channel that I would recommend is AthleanX. That's ATHLEAN. And then I think it's -X. So you can utilize that resource as well. Moving on to the second P, purpose alignment. So this is about aligning one's daily activities with their personal values and long-term goals. And this is going to be a way to instill or foster fulfillment in life. It feels like sometimes we are just going through the motions of life, especially during busy times of the year. You're like, man, I could really use a vacation, or I don't know where the time went. And it's like, I've got all these things that I'm dealing with. Where's the time for me? This area is going to help motivate you and encourage you to, I guess, stay the course. And it's going to help reduce stress as well. So the research says that social support enhances mental health and acts as a buffer against stress, right? So family, friendships, romantic relationships, these are all things that can help you sustain yourself as you progress through life, right? And then in addition, when one's work is aligned with their personal values, that can increase satisfaction, right? If you love the work that you're doing, you're gonna be motivated to wake up every day and go to that place. You're not gonna wake up with a sense of dread or have the Sunday scaries, as a lot of people say. And you're gonna overall be a little bit more fulfilled in that area. So, like I said, this area focuses on family, career, relationships, and personal goals. So some actionable tips for you to get better in this area is to determine your top personal and professional values, right? If you ever saw my first video, I mentioned a quote from, I think it was MLK. I'm pretty sure it was MLK. But if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything. Or something along those lines. I'm like getting nervous right now, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. So the second point is to allocate time for family, friends, and hobbies. Like I said, life's always pulling you in various directions. If you can balance things better, during the workday, establish a boundary with your family. Hey, little Johnny, I'm at work. I'm not gonna be able to chat with you until I get home, but just know that daddy loves you, right? Stuff like that. Let your friends know, hey, I'm at work right now. I'd love to chat on FaceTime, but I just can't because I'm in the office and this demands my 100% focus. And then your hobbies too. You don't want to just be working all the time, right? Hobbies are going to help you relieve stress. And if it's something that you enjoy, it's like, I don't know, you enjoy it. Why would you not want that fulfillment in your life versus being at a place, maybe a job that you're not 100% happy at? You're going to want something like a hobby that you're passionate about, that brings you joy. You're going to want that to balance your emotions that you just generally have, your overall well-being. And then this one is very crucial as well. You want to do regular assessments and just basically check-ins to see if these things align with your values, right? Life happens, things change in a lot of people's lives. And this is unfortunate, but sometimes you have to cut off certain things that don't serve you, right? If you are somebody who has, a relationship that, maybe you guys grew apart, you don't really have the same interests anymore, you might have to evaluate and see, is this bringing me towards that larger goal that I have in life, right? And it doesn't have to be hard feelings or anything. It's just you growing, you recognizing the fact that you've grown apart. And, sometimes you move away. You don't have the capacity, you don't have the time. Proximity creates comfort. When you're no longer close to one another, it takes a little bit more effort to, hey, I can call up Johnny across the street to go get a beer versus, dang, Johnny's 2 states away. Now I gotta plan a trip to go see Johnny, and it becomes a little bit more complicated. So that's just one example. I'm sure you guys can think of many others, but you just want to evaluate your commitments to assess if they still align with your values. So some digital tools to help you get stronger in this area is one app is called the Meetup app. I think it's a website as well. Basically, you can connect with like-minded individuals in particular communities who have, the same interest as you. So say that you're a baseball fan like me, and maybe you don't have a lot of people in your life who enjoy baseball the same way that you do. You might want to go seek out a meetup group who shares that interest. You get to meet new people, you guys get to bond over that activity, and who knows, that could lead to a whole avalanche, cascade of brand new relationships and bonds that you otherwise would have never sought out because, hey, you're in a state of, oh, well, I'm the only friend that I have who likes this hobby, so I'm just gonna sit here and pout. No, go seek out like-minded people who share your interests. Trust me, it'll help you a lot. I go to a lot of Yankees games by myself, and I've met people along the way. Not necessarily close friends, but it definitely made the experience a little bit better versus me thinking, oh well, I'm just gonna stick to myself. Go have fun, meet new people. Second app that you can use is something called Way of Life. It can help you track habits that reflect your personal values, right? It's January right now. Lots of people do something called Dry January, where they abstain from alcohol for the first month of the year. You can use this app to track that, I've never personally used it, but I've heard good things about it. It's something you might want to check out. And then another tool is Reflectly, which is a guided journal for self-reflection and goal alignment. So guys, you guys got many things at your disposal to help you in this area, to enhance your relationships, lead you towards your personal goals, and then also enhance your family and career goals. Now, this last circle is productivity and time. So I think this one we can all understand, that effective time management enables one to focus on essential tasks, and it helps reduce feelings of overwhelm and stress, right? Excuse me. So the supporting research is, the Eisenhower matrix. It's basically something that'll help assist you in distinguishing between urgent and important tasks. And then cognitive load theory, which is basically that simplifying tasks help to prevent mental overload. The actionable tips are to utilize the matrix. And I thought I had this written down, so I'm gonna outline to you guys briefly, I'll be back in a second, what the Eisenhower matrix says exactly. Alrighty. So basically, for the Eisenhower matrix, if a task is urgent and important, then you should do it now or as soon as you possibly can. If it's important but not urgent, then you're better off scheduling it for when you have the time to do it. If a task is urgent and not important, delegate, right? This is something you often see at your job, your supervisor, your boss, they might have, all of the tasks in the world to manage at one time. People in positions of power and authority have so much on their plate. So oftentimes they'll delegate that, they'll shift that work onto somebody because they simply don't have the capacity to do it. If they could, they would, but they can't. So they'll delegate it to somebody like you because it's urgent and not important. And now, If a task is neither urgent nor important, then eliminate. You have no need for it. It doesn't serve any purpose in your life. So the Eisenhower matrix just basically serves to simplify your decision making and therefore take all of the mental stress that's often surrounding time management and task prioritization. Like you sometimes hear about analysis or paralysis by analysis. That's just basically the idea that overthinking can oftentimes create a sense of panic or anxiety to the point that you end up getting nothing done. So the Eisenhower matrix is a great way to focus on your tasks. So another actionable tip is to plan. Create a list of priorities each day. Lists, right? We often hear about lists, and that's just going to be helpful in terms of helping you to remember everything. And then it's a great feeling when you can just like check something off of that list, right? Gives you a nice little dopamine hit, and then you're able to feel motivated to move on to the next task. Third tip is something called single tasking. So basically, it's just focusing on one task at a time to enhance the efficiency at which you will accomplish or check off that task. In some of the roles that I've had, or just even in school, like right when you're balancing a course load, you often find yourself having to shift attention. I got this math problem set to do, but then again I got this history paper. I'm gonna try to focus on both tonight, versus you plan a little bit better during the week, right? You probably went to that party that weekend and that took up a lot of your time. But had you spent that Saturday night focused on that problem set, maybe even meeting up with a buddy to do the problem set, you could have gotten it done then, as opposed to what you did, which was not do the thing that you needed to do. So I say that to say single tasking, focusing on one thing at a time, and then also setting that clear list of priorities, bullet point 2. Combining those two is going to really help you, especially when you've got a lot on your plate, a lot demanding of you, and all this other stuff. Some digital tools that you can use. One is Trello, and this is a way to visualize projects and deadlines, and it's just a way to help you better manage everything on hand, right? There's something called Todoist, and that helps you to organize tasks by priority and category. Then there's also a thing called Rescue Time, which monitors your time usage to identify and minimize distractions. Something else you can use is they have various apps that'll block websites for you. So say you're somebody who loves social media and you can't help but to scroll Instagram, or for a lot of us it was Facebook when we were in school. So you can use this app or there's several of them, I couldn't even tell you a name, but there's various apps that'll block out a website. You can set the period of time, right? So say it's Friday night and you want to focus on that problem set. You can say, hey, from 8 to 10 p.m., please block Facebook, Instagram, ESPN, YouTube, whatever websites you use. Now you have no choice but to do the task at hand, and it's been made easier by virtue of you utilizing these productivity apps. So these are our 3 P's again. Physiological first, right? This is based on the concept that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Focusing on your health will give you the strength and energy to move with purpose and strengthen your family, career, your relationships, and deepen your progress towards your personal goals. And then This last tier, productivity and time, that'll help you accomplish all the tasks that are, outside of these things. So, like I said before, this concept, the 3P framework, is based on several theories. Like I just mentioned, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, fulfilling basic needs as a foundation for higher level pursuits. Self-determination theory, which highlights the importance of autonomy, competence, and relatedness in motivation. And then the Eisenhower matrix, which basically touches on ways to better decide how you're gonna focus on tackling tasks. So, with that being said, I'd be very curious to hear from you guys about any of these areas in which you think you're doing well, any of these areas in which you think you might need help and you could improve, and drop them in the comments. I'm happy to help. Nobody's perfect. I do not have life figured out, but I learned about this framework recently and I thought it was very applicable to you guys. I think anybody who's on this channel is a high achiever, go-getter, somebody who's motivated and wants to do better in life. So I just offer this as a way for you guys to help conceptualize, hey, progress is in my future, success is in my future. I can do anything as long as I put my mind to it, right? I had a principal in elementary school. Over the loudspeaker every morning, she'd say, you can do it if you put your mind to it. So I say that to say to you guys, you can do it if you put your mind to it. So that's it, guys. That's the 3P framework. Physiological first, purpose alignment, productivity, and time. Maurice out.